So what do we mean by being the church instead of going to church? Here's one way to look at it. In the going to church model, everything centers around the Sunday service and the church's programs. Without even realizing it, drawing a bigger crowd through a great Sunday service and popular programs becomes the main goal of the church. With the being the church approach, the Sunday service is important, but a great Sunday service is not the main goal of the church. Sunday service and programs keep us connected as a body, prepare us to live out our Christianity in the real world. In the being the church model, it's what happens the other 167 hours a week that matters the most. With going to church, the congregation subconsciously adopts the accepted customs, dress, behaviors, and speech of the group. The externals may change, but much of their life is left unchanged. With being the church, there is no unspoken pressure to conform on the externals. Instead, people are encouraged to be genuinely changed on the inside in order to become more like Christ. With going to church, the ministers minister while the congregations congregate. Therefore, most ministry is done by a few people. People must come to the church for that ministry. With being the church, some ministry still happens at the church, but the congregation is the front line of ministry, most of which is done in the course of living their daily lives. It is not only more effective, but it also greatly increases the amount of ministry done, and more people are touched. In the going to church model, usually people receive very little practical help with genuine spiritual growth. That is, how to become more like Christ. They are told to put off the old man and put on the new, but not told how to do it. Often, instead of looking for evidence of spiritual growth in the lives of the congregation, emphasis is placed on the amount of time spent at church or participating in programs. Unfortunately, very little life change occurs this way. This is not a critique, this is just an undeniable fact looking at churches in America over the past 50 years. With being the church, of course, Christ-likeness is from God, but it doesn't happen as we sit passively in church. We have an active role to play in the process. Good teaching is critical, but in addition to good teaching, we must devote time to putting that teaching into practice. Here's another way of looking at it. What would happen if instead of making numerical growth our primary mission, we focused everything we do on helping people genuinely move towards becoming more like Christ? What if, instead of trying to find just the right programs and pull off the perfect Sunday service, we let our congregation do the ministry just by being themselves as they go through their daily life? That's what we mean, in part, by being the church. We think that a church that devotes itself to helping its people become more like Christ can't help but grow. It's interesting, the church spends so much money and effort getting people to visit, but one of Jesus' main problems was getting away from the crowds that were drawn to him. When we become more like Christ, people will notice. Mid-City will grow for the right reasons. We think that this will work because we think it's the biblical model for church. That's what we mean by being the church. That's a big part of what we mean by Mid-City being a plain, simple church.